BMW M car in stock is always a bit of a treat at Motorpoint, but this week we've got not one but two. We've got the BMW M4 competition and we've got the BMW M2 competition. Now the M4 is the new name for the M3 Coupe, but arguably it's the M2 Coupe that's the spiritual successor to the earlier, more compact M3. So let's have a quick look round this car first. Now this is kind of your real old school raw M division car. It's brilliant. It's got the traditional rear wheel drive layout. We've got this compact body with lots of, kind of bursting muscles. So if we look down the side, you can see how these swollen arches are covering that wider track, and those 19-inch alloys are filling them as well. And at the back, we've got the signature quad exhaust pipes that we first saw on the E46 M3 about 20 years ago. You might notice the M2 competition badge as well. I mentioned this is the competition. That's really important because when BMW launched this car back in 2016, it was fitted with a 3-litre turbocharged straight-six engine. It still is, but with the competition, they switched the single turbo version of this engine for the twin turbo version that you get in the M4. So power really leapt up by 40 brake horsepower to 404 brake horsepower. And with our car's dual clutch gearbox, that's enough for 0 to 62 in 4.2 seconds. You got an uprated chassis as well, uprated exhaust, and if we just have a quick look inside, you see these lovely leather sport seats here. Got the M2 logos on there. They hold you really, really nicely. And if we just look at this layout, again, it's kind of that old school, traditional, very driver focused layout. So you've got the 3-spoke steering wheel, we've got the iDrive as well, BMW's brilliant iDrive with the sat-nav map. There's your dual clutch gearbox controller, so you can leave it in auto or knock it over for manual, and you can either drive it on the stick or use these up and down paddles, so the plus and minus paddles there. Of course, it's a rival to the Audi TT and Porsche Cayman, so one of the USPs of the M2 is that you've got proper rear seats as well, a decent sized boot, so it's a very, very usable car. Now let's just start it up. You hear that fruitier exhaust as well. Already sounds quite purposeful. Really, really nice and purposeful. So yeah, it's a really good car. It's very, very tempting, this car. It's got the dual clutch gearbox, just over 4,000 miles. But let's have a look at the M4 now. So really, this is your 5th generation M3 Coupe by another name. This one is in the gorgeous San Marino blue, so hopefully you can see that blue and purple kind of pinging out there. This one's on the double spoke 19-inch alloy wheels, and I think you can see that bonnet bulge poking out there as well. Gives it that purposeful, powerful look. A real signature of the M4 is this carbon fibre roof, so it helps to take weight out of the place you really don't want it on a sports car, so high up, and it helps lower the centre of gravity. But just look at this luscious finish. I think that just looks good. Anyway, at the back we got the swollen rear haunches for the 19-inch alloys, much like the M2, and M fans will probably recognise that ducktail rear spoiler as a nod to the E46 M3 CSL, so really legendary M3 there. And naturally, we got the quad exhausts again. Now this is the first time an M4 or an M3 got a turbocharged engine, so it's basically the same engine as you'll find under the M2 competition, so a 3-litre twin turbo straight six, but obviously it's more powerful in the M4. So while the M2 competition detunes the M4 engine slightly, the competition version of the M4 ups the power to 444 brake horsepower. So that's enough for 0 to 60 in 4 seconds flat with our dual clutch gearbox. You also got an uprated chassis and, just like the M2 competition, a fruitier exhaust. And if we look inside, you can see these lovely leather sports seats with the M4 logo there. Hold you in place really nicely. And again, a very, very driver-focused layout. 3-spoke steering wheel. Got the paddle shifters on the wheel for the dual clutch gearbox. We've got the iDrive system, which is fantastic, class leading, and a few more things to adjust. So you can adjust the steering assistance and the throttle response on the M2, but you can't adjust the suspension softness or stiffness, and you can on the M4. Of course, it's a bigger car as well, so these seats are more usable than the M2, and you get a bigger boot. If I just start it up so you can hear this fruitier exhaust, already sounds nice and kind of rumbly and purposeful as well. Now the interesting thing about the M2 and the M4 now on the used market is they are actually quite similar money, so check them out, see which one you prefer, and who knows, maybe it could be a dream 2-car garage if you're that lucky. But there are a few different examples throughout the Motorpoint dealer network, so check them out online. Don't forget to follow us on social media for all the latest updates, and we'll see you next time.